Elena Vasquez had worked the night shift at Lunar Base Artemis for 3 years. Every night was the same. She would sit in her small room filled with computers and screens. She would listen to the sounds of space. Most of the time, there was nothing but static. Sometimes she would hear old satellite signals bouncing around. Sometimes she would catch pieces of ship communications from the trading vessels that moved between Earth and Mars, but nothing exciting ever happened. Nothing that made her heart beat faster. The base was quiet at night. Most people were sleeping. Elena liked it this way. She could drink her coffee in peace. She could read her books between scans. She had a small picture of her mother on her desk. Her mother had died 2 years ago, back on Earth. Elena had not been able to go to the funeral. Space was too far away, and her job was too important. At least, that is what they told her. On the night of March 14th, 2247, Elena was thinking about going home. Her contract would end in 6 months. She had saved enough money to buy a small house near the ocean. She wanted to feel real wind on her face again. She wanted to smell the salt in the air. The moon was beautiful. But it was not home. She was running her usual scan of the deep space frequencies when something strange happened. A sound cut through the static. It was weak and broken, but it was there. Elena sat up straight in her chair. Her coffee cup almost fell from her hand. She put it down and leaned closer to her screen. The sound was a pattern. It was not random noise. It was a signal. Elena's fingers moved fast over her keyboard. She tried to clean up the signal, to make it clearer. Her heart was beating hard now. In 3 years, she had never heard anything like this. The signal grew stronger for a moment. Elena heard a voice. It was human. A woman was speaking, but the words were hard to understand. There was too much interference. Elena recorded everything. She worked harder to clear the noise. Slowly, pieces of the message came through. The first thing she understood was the code. It was the Universal Emergency Code. The SOS signal that every ship, every station, every colony knew. It was the code that meant someone was in terrible danger. Someone needed help right now. Elena felt cold. The SOS code had not been used in over 40 years. The last time was during the border skirmishes, when pirates attacked supply ships near Saturn. Since then, space had been peaceful, safe, or so everyone believed. She kept working on the signal. More words came through. The woman on the recording was scared. Elena could hear it in her voice. She was trying to stay calm, but fear was breaking through. "This is Kepler Station," the woman said. "We need immediate help. Something has happened. Something we cannot explain." Elena's blood went cold. Kepler Station. She knew that name. Everyone knew that name. Kepler Station was a mining outpost near the asteroid belt. 6 months ago, all contact with Kepler had stopped. The official report said there was an equipment failure. A solar storm had damaged their communication systems. A rescue ship was sent, but when it arrived, the station was dark. No lights, no signals, no signs of life. The rescue team found nothing. They searched for 2 weeks. Then they left. Kepler Station was declared lost. The 2,300 people who lived there were presumed dead. Their families held funerals. Their names were added to the memorial wall at Fleet Headquarters. The case was closed. But now, Elena was hearing a voice from Kepler Station. A voice from the dead. She kept recording. The signal faded in and out. The woman spoke again, faster now, more urgent. "They came 3 days ago. We thought they were ships at first. But they are not ships. They are something else. Something we have never seen before. We tried to communicate. We tried everything. But they do not respond. They just watch us. They surround us. We cannot leave. We cannot call for help. Our systems are failing. Please, if anyone hears this, send help. Send the fleet. Send everyone." There was a pause. Elena held her breath. Then the woman spoke again, and these words would stay with Elena for the rest of her life. "They found us." Elena tried to bring it back, but there was nothing. Only static. Only silence. She sat in her chair, shaking. Her hands were trembling so badly that she could barely type. For a long moment, she did not know what to do. Her training told her to report this immediately. But her mind was racing with questions. Was this real? Could it be a trick? A test? Some kind of mistake? She played the recording again. She listened to the fear in that woman's voice. She heard the words clearly now. They found us. Who were they? What had found them? What was happening at Kepler Station right now, while Elena sat here alone in her small room? She made her decision. She sent an urgent message to her supervisor. Then she sent another message directly to Fleet, headquarters on Earth. She marked it with the highest priority code she had access to. She attached the recording. She wrote only a few words. SOS received from Kepler Station. Not a drill. Please respond immediately. Then she waited. The minutes felt like hours. She stared at her screen, waiting for a reply. She played the recording again and again. Each time, she noticed something new. The strange sounds in the background, the way the woman's voice changed when she said they. It's the complete terror in those final 3 words. At 0347 hours, her screen lit up with an incoming call. It was not her supervisor. It was not anyone she knew. The name on the screen made her gasp. Fleet Admiral Marcus Chen, the highest-ranking officer in Earth's combined fleet, the man who controlled every military ship in the solar. System Elena answered the call with shaking hands. Admiral Chen's face appeared on her screen. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes, but those eyes were sharp now. They were focused. Officer Vasquez, he said, I have received your message. I need you to tell me everything. Leave nothing out. Start from the beginning, Elena told him. She told him about the quiet night, about the signal cutting through the static, about the words she had heard. When she finished, Admiral Chen was quiet for a long time. You did the right thing, he finally said. You may have just saved thousands of lives, or you may have just changed the course of human history. I do not know yet, but I need you to do something for me. Anything, sir, Elena said. Keep listening. If that signal comes back, I need to know immediately. Do not sleep. Do not leave your station. Can you do that? Elena nodded. Yes, sir. I will not move until you tell me to. Admiral Chen looked at her through the screen. For a moment, his tired eyes showed something like kindness. Thank you, Officer Vasquez. And please, try not to worry too much. Whatever's happening out there, we will find out. And we will respond. The screen went dark. Elena was alone again. She turned back to her equipment and began to listen. Somewhere out there, past the moon, past Mars, past everything she knew, something was waiting. Something had found Kepler Station. And now, Earth was about to find out what it was. Elena took a deep breath. She picked up her cold coffee and took a small sip. Then she put on her headphones and leaned close to her screen. The night was no longer quiet. The night was full of questions. And Elena Vasquez was determined to find the answers. Admiral Marcus Chen had not slept in 36 hours. He sat in his office at Fleet Headquarters, staring at the wall. The recording from Kepler Station played in his mind again and again. 3 words haunted him. They found us. He had listened to those words 100 times. Each time, they felt heavier. Each time, they meant more. The sun was rising over the city outside his window. Earth looked peaceful from up here. People were waking up. They were making breakfast. They were sending their children to school. They had no idea what was happening in the darkness of space. They did not know that everything might change today. Chen had been in the military for 42 years. He had fought in the border skirmishes. He had lost friends. He had made hard choices. But nothing in his long career had prepared him for this moment. Nothing had prepared him to decide the fate of the entire human race. His desk was covered with reports. His staff had worked through the night to analyze the signal from Kepler Station. The technical team confirmed it was real. The voice patterns matched a woman named Dr. Sarah Eulerand, who had been the chief xenobiologist at the station. Xenobiology was the study of alien life. Dr. Eulerand had spent her career searching for signs of life beyond Earth. It seemed she had finally found something, or something had found her. The door opened. General Patricia Volkov walked in. She was Chun's second in command, a tall woman with silver hair and a face that showed nothing. She had been a pilot once, one of the best. Now she helped Chen run the fleet. "The council is ready," she said. "They are waiting for your decision." Chen nodded slowly. "What do you think, Patricia? What would you do?" Volkov was quiet for a moment. She walked to the window and looked out at the city below. "I think we have two choices," she said. "We can wait. We can send a small team to investigate. We can be careful and slow and safe. Or we can act now. We can send everything we have. We can show whatever is out there that humanity does not abandon its people. And if we are wrong?" Chen asked. "If this is a mistake, a false signal, a trap, then we will look foolish," Volkov said. "Our careers will end. People will laugh at us. But if we are right and we do nothing, then we will have left 2,300 people to die. We will have failed them. We will have failed everyone." Chen stood up from his chair. His body was tired, but his mind was clear. He had made his decision. He had probably made it the moment he heard that recording. He just needed time to accept it. "Call the council," he said. "Tell them I am invoking Article 7. Volkov turned to look at him. For the first time, her calm face showed surprise. Article 7 was the most serious action any fleet admiral could take. It was the declaration of an extraterrestrial threat. It had never been used before. It would authorize the complete mobilization of Earth's military forces. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon. "Are you sure?" Volkov asked. "No," Chen said honestly. "I am not sure of anything. But I am responsible for the safety of every human in this solar system. And right now, 2,300 of those humans might still be alive. They might be scared and alone and waiting for help. I cannot sit here and do nothing while they suffer." Volkov nodded slowly. Something like respect showed in her eyes. "I will make the call," she said. She turned and left the room. Chen walked to his window. He placed his hand on the cold glass. Somewhere out there, past the blue sky, past the clouds, past everything he could see, his daughter was serving on a research vessel near Jupiter. Her name was Lisa. She was 28 years old. She had her mother's smile and her father's stubborn nature. Chen had not seen her in 2 years. He had not told her he loved her in even longer. He thought about all the other parents out there, all the mothers and fathers who had children serving in space, all the families who were about to receive the news that their loved ones were being sent into danger. He was about to change all their lives. He was about to risk all their children, but he was also about to give them a chance to be heroes, a chance to show the universe what humanity was made of at 0600 hours. Admiral Chen walked into the council chamber. The room was full of the most powerful people on Earth. Politicians, generals, scientists, advisors. They all looked at him with worried faces. They had all heard the recording. They all knew what was at stake. Chen stood at the front of the room. He did not sit down. He wanted them to see him clearly. He wanted them to understand that he was not afraid. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, 6 months ago, we lost contact with Kepler Station. We sent a rescue team. They found nothing. We declared the station lost. We told the families their loved ones were dead. We moved on." Paused. The room was silent. "Last night, we received a signal, an SOS from Kepler Station. A woman's voice. She told us that something found them. Something we have never seen before. Something that is holding them prisoner." The room erupted in noise. People were talking, shouting, asking questions. Chen raised his hand. The room went quiet again. "I do not know what we are facing," he continued. "I do not know if it is friendly or hostile. I do not know what it wants. But I know one thing. We have people out there. Our people. And they need our help." He took a deep breath. "I am invoking Article 7. I am ordering the complete mobilization of Earth's combined fleet. Every ship, every crew, every resource we have. We are going to Kepler Station. We are going to find out what happened. And we are going to bring our people home." The room exploded again. Some people were shouting in support. Others were shouting in protest. Chen ignored them all. He turned to General Volkov. "Send the order," he said. "We launch in 12 hours. The order went out across the solar system. On Earth, sirens began to sound at military bases. Pilots ran to their ships. Engineers powered up engines that had been quiet for years. On the Moon, soldiers grabbed their equipment and rushed to transport shuttles. On Mars, supply ships were loaded with food and medicine and weapons. In 12 hours, the largest fleet in human history would leave for the asteroid belt. Over 400 ships, 47,000 men and women. They did not know what they were going to face. They did not know if they would come back. But they were going anyway. Because somewhere out there, 2,300 people were waiting for help. And humanity was not going to let them down. Admiral Chen watched the preparations from his office. Ships were lifting off from bases around the world. The sky was filled with lights. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. It was Lisa, his daughter, he answered. "Hello, sweetheart." "Dad," she said. Her voice was shaking. "I heard the news. Is it true? Are you really doing this?" "Yes," he said. There was silence on the line. Then Lisa spoke again. "Be careful, Dad. Please. Come home safe." Chen closed his eyes. He felt tears forming, but he held them back. "I will," he said. "I promise." He hung up the phone. He looked out the window one more time. Then he turned and walked out of his office. It was time to lead his fleet into the unknown. It was time to find out what was waiting for them at Kepler Station. It was time to show the universe that humanity would never stop fighting for its own. Captain Yuki Tanaka was eating breakfast in the mess hall when the alarm started. Screaming, she dropped her fork. The sound was loud and sharp. It filled every corner of the ship. Red lights began flashing on the walls. Around her, crew members jumped up from their tables. Food was forgotten. Coffee cups fell to the floor. YUKI had been captain of the U.S. Valiant for 4 years. She knew every sound this ship made. She knew when something was wrong, and this alarm was the worst one. This was the full mobilization alarm. This was the sound that meant war. She ran. Her boots hit the metal floor hard as she raced through the corridors. Crew members moved aside to let her pass. Everyone was running somewhere. Everyone had a job to do. The ship was waking up from its long sleep. The Valiant was a heavy cruiser. It was 400 meters long and carried 800 crew members. It had big guns and thick armor and engines that could push it faster than most ships in the fleet. For 4 years, Yuki had used it for patrol missions, escort duties. Nothing exciting, nothing dangerous. The ship had never fired its weapons in anger. Most of the crew had never seen real combat. That was about to change. YUKI reached the bridge and took her place in the captain's chair. Her officers were already at their stations. Lieutenant Commander Hiroshi Nakamura, her first officer, turned to look at her. His face was pale. "Captain," he said, "we have received orders from Fleet Command. Full mobilization. We are to proceed to Assembly Point Delta and join the main fleet. Admiral Chen is invoking Article 7. Yuki felt her stomach drop. Article 7. She had learned about it in training many years ago. She never thought she would hear those words in real life. Article 7 meant only one thing. Something out there was threatening humanity. Something that needed the full force of Earth's military to stop. "What is the target?" she asked. "Kepler Station," Nakamura said. "They received an SOS signal last night. Someone is still alive out there. And they are not alone." Yuki processed this information quickly. Kepler Station, the lost mining outpost. The 2,300 people everyone thought were dead. They were alive, and something was with them. "All hands to battle stations," Yuki ordered. Her voice was calm and clear. She had to be calm. Her crew was watching. They needed to see strength, not fear. "Prepare for immediate departure. I want all systems online in 30 minutes. The bridge became a blur of activity. Officers shouted orders into their communicators. Engineers rushed to power up the reactor cores. Pilots ran to the hangar bay, where the Valiant's fighter squadron was waiting. In the crew quarters, young sailors were grabbing their equipment. Many of them were scared. Some of them were crying. They had joined the fleet for the benefits, for the adventure, for the chance to see the stars. They had not signed up for this. They had not expected to face the unknown. Petty Officer James Wright was 22 years old. He had joined the fleet 2 years ago because he could not afford university. The military promised to pay for his education after he finished his service. He had a girlfriend back on Earth. Her name was Maria. They were planning to get married next year. James stood in front of his locker, staring at a picture of Maria. His hands were shaking. He did not want to die. He did not want to fight aliens or monsters or whatever was waiting for them at Kepler Station. He just wanted to go home. A hand touched his shoulder. He turned around. It was Chief Petty Officer Amanda Cole. She was older, maybe 40. She had been in the fleet for 20 years. She had served in the border skirmishes. She had seen combat. First time is always the hardest, she said. Her voice was kind. I remember how scared I was. I thought I would die for sure, but I did not. And you will not either. You know why? James shook his head. Because we look out for each other, Amanda said. That is what we do. We are a family, and family does not leave anyone behind. Now get your gear and get to your station. We have a job to do. James looked at her for a moment, then he nodded. He put Maria's picture in his pocket, close to his heart. He grabbed his equipment and followed Amanda out of the room. On the bridge, Captain Tanaka was watching the departure preparations on her screen. All across the solar system, ships were launching. Fighters, cruisers, destroyers, carriers. The sky was filling with metal and fire. It was the largest military operation in human history. Captain, Lieutenant Chen said from the communications station. We are receiving a fleet-wide broadcast from Admiral Chen. He wants to speak to all crews. Put it on the main screen, Yuki ordered. The screen flickered. Admiral Chen's face appeared. He looked tired but determined. His eyes seemed to look directly at every person watching. Men and women of Earth's combined fleet, he said. Today, we begin a journey into the unknown. 6 months ago, we lost Kepler Station. We thought everyone there was dead. We were wrong. Last night, we received a signal. An SOS. Our people are alive. They are waiting for us. And they are not alone. He paused. The entire ship was silent, listening. I will not lie to you, the Admiral continued. I do not know what we are going to find out there. I do not know what is holding our people. I do not know if it is dangerous. But I know this. We are the protectors of humanity. We are the shield that guards our people. When someone is in trouble, we answer. When someone needs help, we come. That is who we are. That is what we do. Some of you are scared. That is okay. I am scared too. But fear is not weakness. Fear is what keeps us sharp. Fear is what keeps us alive. Use your fear. Let it make you strong. Let it make you careful. And when the moment comes, let it make you brave. In 11 days, we will reach Kepler Station. In 11 days, we will learn the truth. And whatever that truth is, we will face it together. As a fleet, as a family, as humanity, I am proud to serve with each and every one of you. Now let us go bring our people home. The screen went dark. For a moment, nobody moved. Then, slowly, the crew began to work again. But something had changed. The fear was still there, but it was smaller now. Hope had joined it. Pride had joined it. They were not just sailors going into danger. They were heroes going to save their people. Captain Tanaka stood up from her chair. She looked at her bridge crew. These people had served with her for years. She knew their faces, their names, their families. She loved them like her own children. You heard the Admiral, she said. We have a job to do. Let us do it well. Helm. Set course for Assembly Point Delta. Maximum speed. "Yes, Captain," the helmsman replied. The Valiant's engines roared to life. The ship began to move, joining the stream of vessels heading toward the darkness of space. Through the viewport, Yuki could see dozens of other ships, their lights twinkling like stars. She thought about her parents back in Tokyo, her brother in the lunar colonies, her old friends from the academy. She might never see any of them again, but that was okay. She had made her choice long ago. She had chosen to serve. She had chosen to protect, and now, when humanity needed her most, she would not fail. The Valiant sailed into the void. Behind it, Earth grew smaller and smaller, until it was just a tiny blue dot in the endless black. Ahead, there was only uncertainty, only danger, only the hope that somewhere out there, 2,300 people were still alive, still waiting, still believing that help would come. Captain Yuki Tanaka stood on her bridge and watched the stars. The journey had begun. There was no turning back now. The journey took 11 days. 11 days of traveling through the darkness of space. 11 days of waiting and worrying and wondering what they would find. For the 47,000 men and women of Earth's combined fleet, it was the longest 11 days of their lives. On the flagship Terra's shield, Admiral Chen spent most of his time in the command center. He barely slept. He barely ate. He studied every piece of information about Kepler's station. He ran through hundreds of possible scenarios with his officers. He prepared plans for first contact with an alien species. He prepared plans for battle. He prepared plans for rescue. He tried to prepare for everything, but nothing could prepare him for what the scout ships reported when they finally arrived. Admiral Lieutenant Commander Torres said, her voice shaking, "The scouts have reached Kepler Station. They are sending visual data now." Chen stood up from his chair. "Put it on the main screen." The screen flickered to life. Chen felt his heart stop. Kepler Station was there. He recognized the shape of it, the central hub, the mining platforms, the communication towers. But the station was no longer just metal and glass. It was covered in something else, something alive, a dark material wrapped around the entire structure like a cocoon. It looked organic, like the roots of a giant tree spreading across the station's surface. But it was not just dark, it glowed. Soft blue and purple lights pulsed through the material like a heartbeat, like breathing. And that was not the worst part. Surrounding the station were ships. Not human ships. These were different. They were huge, much bigger than anything Earth had ever built. The largest carrier in the human fleet was 800 meters long. These alien vessels were at least 3 times that size. They had no clear shape. They seemed to flow and shift, like liquid metal frozen in space. Their surfaces were smooth and dark, the same glowing patterns as the material on the station. Chen counted them. 17 alien ships.
Ow.
Each one a monster of metal and light. They hung motionless in space, surrounding Kepler Station like wolves surrounding a wounded deer. "Status report," Chen ordered. His voice was steady, but inside he was terrified. 17 alien vessels detected, Torres reported. Unknown design. Unknown power source. No weapons signatures detected, but we cannot be sure. They appear to be inactive. And our people? Any signs of life on the station? Uncertain, sir. The alien material is blocking most of our sensors. We are detecting some heat signatures inside the station, but we cannot identify them. Chen stared at the screen. For a moment, he felt completely lost. He had imagined many things during the journey. He had imagined finding wreckage. He had imagined finding survivors. He had even imagined finding hostile aliens that needed to be fought. But this was beyond anything he had expected. The alien ships were not attacking. They were not running. They were just sitting there, waiting. What were they waiting for? "Orders, Admiral," General Volkov asked. She stood beside him, her face calm as always. Chen thought quickly. He could not attack. That might start a war humanity could not win. He could not retreat. That would mean abandoning the people on Kepler Station. He had to wait. He had to learn more. "All ships hold position," he ordered. Maintain defensive formation. No aggressive actions. No communication attempts without my direct approval. We watch and wait. The fleet stopped. Over 400 ships hung in space, facing the alien vessels across a gap of empty darkness. Minutes passed, then ours. Neither side moved. It was like two animals meeting in the wild, each one trying to understand if the other was friend or enemy. 6 hours into the standoff, something changed. "Admiral," Torres shouted. "Movement from the station. A small vessel is approaching." Chen leaned forward. On the screen, he could see a tiny ship leaving Kepler Station. It was not alien. It was human. A small shuttle, old and battered, moving slowly toward the fleet. "Can we identify it?" Chen asked. "Running checks now, sir?" Torres worked at her console. "It is a standard mining shuttle. Registration number matches a vessel assigned to Kepler Station. And sir, we are receiving a communication request." "Accept it," Chen said immediately. The screen split. On one side, the view of the alien ships. On the other, a face. A woman's face. She looked tired and thin. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were red from crying. But she was alive. She was human. "This is Dr. Sarah Euleron," the woman said. "Chief Xenobiologist of Kepler Station. I am requesting permission to board the flagship. I have information that is critical for your mission. Please respond." Chen recognized the name. This was the woman from the original SOS message. The woman who had said, "They found us. She was alive." "Dr. Euleron," Chen said. "This is Admiral Marcus Chen. Permission granted. We will guide your shuttle to our hangar bay." "Are you injured? Do you need medical assistance?" "I am fine, Admiral. Tired, but fine. The others are fine too. Everyone is alive. All 2,300 of us. But I need to explain what happened. I need you to understand before you do anything. Please do not attack. Do not be afraid. Everything depends on what happens in the next few hours." Chen felt a strange mix of relief and confusion. Everyone was alive. That was wonderful news. But why was she warning him not to attack? What did she know that he did not? "We will not take any aggressive action," Chen promised. "Come aboard. Tell us everything." The shuttle continued its slow journey toward the fleet. The alien ships remained still. They showed no reaction to what was happening. They just watched with their strange, glowing surfaces. When Dr. Euleron's shuttle finally landed in the hangar bay of Terra's shield, Admiral Chen was waiting. General Volkov stood beside him, along with a team of doctors and security officers. They watched as the shuttle's door opened. Dr. Euleron stepped out. She was smaller than Chen had expected. A thin woman in a dirty uniform, with tired eyes and shaking hands. But when she spoke, her voice was strong. "Thank you for coming, Admiral," she said. "I was afraid no one would hear our signal. I was afraid we would be forgotten." "We heard you," Chen said. "And we came as fast as we could. Now please, Doctor, tell me what is happening here. What are those ships? What is that material covering the station? What found you?" Dr. Euleron took a deep breath. She looked at the Admiral with eyes that held secrets he could not imagine. "They are called the Vethrani," she said, "and they are not our enemies. They are refugees. They came from a star system far away. Their home was destroyed by something terrible. They escaped, but their fleet was damaged. They were dying when they found us." Chen listened in stunned silence. "They took over the station because they had no choice," Dr. Euleron continued. "They needed resources. They needed safety. They did not hurt us. They kept us alive. They protected us. For 6 months, we have lived with them. We have learned to communicate. We have become friends." Tears were forming in her eyes. "They need our help, Admiral. They have nowhere else to go. And in exchange, they are offering us something incredible, technology beyond anything we have ever imagined. Medicine that can cure diseases we thought were impossible to cure, energy sources that could solve all of Earth's problems. They are offering us a partnership, a future together. Admiral Chen stood very still. His mind was racing. Everything he had expected was wrong. This was not an invasion. This was not a threat. This was an opportunity. The greatest opportunity in human history. "Take me to them," he said quietly. "I want to meet these Vethrani. I want to hear their story from them." Dr. Oileron smiled. It was the first time she had smiled in months. "Follow me, Admiral. There is so much I need to show you." Admiral Chen followed Dr. Oileron through the corridors of Kepler Station. Nothing looked the same as it had in the old photographs. The walls were covered with the strange organic material the Vethrani had brought. It glowed softly, giving everything a blue and purple light. It was beautiful in a strange way. Like walking through a dream. "The material is alive," Dr. Oileron explained as they walked. "It is part of their technology. It grows and adapts. It provides oxygen, filters water, generates power. When they first arrived, the station was damaged from a solar storm. They repaired everything in 3 days using this material. Our engineers were amazed." Chen touched the wall. It was warm and soft, like skin. He pulled his hand back quickly. "Do not worry," Dr. Oileron said with a small smile. "It will not hurt you. The Vethrani are careful. They know how strange all this must seem to us. They have been very patient." They reached a large door at the end of the corridor. Dr. Oileron stopped and turned to face the Admiral. "Before we go in," she said, "I need you to prepare yourself. The Vethrani do not look like us. They are very different. But please, try to see past their appearance. They are kind. They are intelligent. They are afraid, just like we would be if we were in their situation." Chen nodded. He had seen many things in his long career. He could handle this. The door opened. Chen stepped inside. The room was large. It used to be the station's main cafeteria. Now it was something else. The tables and chairs were gone. Instead, the floor was covered with soft, cushion-like structures. And on these cushions sat beings that Chen had never seen before. The Vethrani were tall and thin. Their bodies were covered in smooth, dark skin that shifted colors when light touched it. They had 4 arms and 2 legs. Their heads were large, with wide eyes that seemed to glow from within. They had no mouths that Chen could see. Instead, they communicated through patterns of light that danced across their skin. There were about 20 of them in the room. When Chen entered, they all turned to look at him. Their glowing eyes studied him with what he could only describe as curiosity. One of them rose and approached. It was taller than the others. Its skin showed patterns of deep blue and gold. When it moved, it was graceful, like water flowing. "This is Ambassador Kale," Dr. Oileron said. "She is the leader of this group. She has learned some of our language. She can communicate through a translation device we built together." Ambassador Kale stopped in front of Admiral Chen. A small device hung around her neck. When she touched it, it began to glow. "Welcome, Admiral Chen," a voice said from the device. It was soft and musical, but clearly artificial. "We have waited a long time for this meeting. We hope you come in peace." "We come in peace." Chen felt something he had not expected. Looking at this strange being from another world, he did not feel fear. He felt wonder. He felt hope. This was the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. First contact with intelligent life from the stars. "We come in peace," Chen said. "Dr. Oileron has told me about your situation. I want to hear more. I want to understand." Ambassador Kale's skin shifted to warm colors. Chen guessed this meant she was pleased. "We are the last of our people," Kale said through the device. "Our home was a planet around a star far from here. We lived there for thousands of your years. We built cities. We made art. We loved our children. We were happy." The colors on her skin turned darker. Then the destroyers came. We do not know where they came from. We do not know what they wanted. They attacked without warning. They burned our cities. They killed our people. We tried to fight. We tried to run. In the end, only 17 ships escaped. Only 8,000 of us survived. Chen listened in silence. He thought about Earth. He thought about his own people. What would he do if something like that happened to them? We traveled for many years, Kale continued. Our ships were damaged. We were running out of resources. We were dying. Then we found your station. We did not mean to frighten your people. We were desperate. We needed help. We took the station because we had no other choice. Why did you not try to contact Earth? Chen asked. Why did you block the communication systems? We were afraid, Kale admitted. We did not know what kind of people you were. We have seen species that destroy strangers. We have seen species that attack without asking questions. We needed time to learn about you, to understand if you were friends or enemies. And what did you decide? Kale's skin turned bright with warm colors again. We decided you were good. Your people here showed us kindness. They were scared at first, but they did not attack us. They talked to us. They shared food with us. They treated our sick. Dr. Eulerin worked for months to build a way for us to communicate. She never gave up. Chen looked at Dr. Eulerin. She was crying quietly. These past 6 months must have been incredibly hard for her, but she had done something amazing. She had built a bridge between two species. What happens now? Chen asked. What do you want from us? We want a home, Kale said simply. We cannot go back. There is nothing to go back to. We ask for a place to live. A small planet, a moon, anywhere you can spare. We will not take anything by force. We will not hurt anyone. We just want to survive. And in exchange, we share everything. Our knowledge, our technology, our medicine. We have learned much in our long history. We can help your people cure diseases. We can help you travel faster through space. We can help you protect your world from threats like the destroyers. We give freely because we believe that is how friends should act. Chen stood in silence for a long moment. He thought about his daughter. He thought about the future she would inherit. He thought about all the children on Earth who would grow up in a universe that was no longer lonely. I cannot make this decision alone, he finally said. I must speak with my government. I must speak with the leaders of Earth, but I can promise you this. I will fight for you. I will tell them what you have told me. I will make them understand that you are not enemies. You are refugees. You are survivors. You deserve a chance. Kale stepped forward. She reached out one of her forehands. It was a human gesture. Someone had taught it to her. Chen took her hand. It was cool and smooth, but the grip was warm somehow. Friendly.
Thank you, Admiral Chen.
Kale said. You give us hope. That is the greatest gift anyone can give. The next few weeks were the busiest in human history. Admiral Chen sent detailed reports to Earth. Leaders from every nation held meetings. Scientists studied the Vethrani technology. Doctors learned about their medicine. Diplomats began to work on agreements. It was not easy. Some people were afraid. Some people did not trust the aliens. There were protests and arguments and long debates. But slowly, things moved forward. The Vethrani were patient. They answered every question. They shared everything they had. 3 months after the fleet arrived at Kepler Station, an agreement was reached. The Vethrani would be given a home on one of Jupiter's moons. They would help humanity advance its technology. In exchange, humanity would protect them and treat them as equals. The survivors of Kepler Station returned home. All 2,247 of them. They were welcomed as heroes. Dr. Eulerin received the highest honors Earth could give. She became the first human ambassador to the Vethrani. Admiral Chen retired from the military 1 year later. He moved to a small house near the ocean, just like Alina Vasquez had always dreamed of. He spent his days watching the waves and thinking about everything that had happened. Sometimes his daughter came to visit. She was married now, with a child of her own. They would sit on the beach together and watch the stars come out. Do you ever wonder what would have happened? Lisa asked one night. If you had not sent the fleet? If you had ignored the signal? Chen thought about it. He thought about Alina Vasquez, alone in her monitoring station, listening to the voice from the void. He thought about all the people who had risked their lives to answer that call. I think about it sometimes, he said, but I do not regret anything. We heard a cry for help, and we answered. That is what humans do. That is who we are. Above them, the stars shone bright. Somewhere out there, on a moon of Jupiter, the Vithrani were building their new home. And somewhere even farther, in the darkness between galaxies, other species were watching, waiting to see what humanity would do next. The universe was vast and full of mysteries, but humanity was no longer alone. And that made all the difference. Alina Vasquez still worked at Lunar Base Artemis, but now instead of listening for emergencies, she listened for friends. She was part of a new project. A project to reach out to other species, to find other survivors, to build a community of worlds. Every night, she sat at her station and listened to the sounds of space. And sometimes, when she was very lucky, she heard something wonderful. A signal from the stars, a greeting from beings she had never met. Each time, she smiled. Each time she answered, and the universe became a little less empty.